I mean, let's quickly do your introductions. Most of you all know about Jobin and Shiva. Both are popular celebrities on LinkedIn, but I'll let you guys do a quick round of introductions.
Yeah, myself, Jobin. I'm into Postgres for this is the 26th or 27th year. Yeah, so pretty long. So yeah, I'm regular to Postgres community events, conferences. From the beginning of Postgres conference. Yeah, I'm a contributor. I used to be a contributor, but now I maintain some tools. But yeah, and I work for Percona. Yeah.
How many of you have heard about PG Gather? This is the gentleman behind that, right?
Thank you. Yeah, please give me some critical feedback also. So what's not working? Yeah, where to improve. Yeah. Yeah. Today there was a talk about wait events, right? So anyone who is analyzing the wait events, please try using the tool. It may give you more complete picture. I'll try to improve that further. Yeah. Thank you.
So most of you might have seen me in LinkedIn. I try to keep myself updated, or at least showcase myself. So if not, please connect with me. We might be able to talk about technology. As Jobin said, I have been with Postgres for the last 3 months. So I am pretty new to Postgres, but I have been with data and AI analytics for a couple of decades now. So that interest kind of pulled me towards these activities. And now I am part of open source DB, primarily focusing around data and AI. And as soon as I joined this company, I understood the huge potential that Postgres has. Now our directions are towards how to capitalize on the capabilities of Postgres. And with the way Hari will drive, we will try to look into the actuals of how Postgres can be utilized and what we can do. I don't want to break the secret, so let me pass it on to Hari so he'll drive this further.
Okay, so we will do like a very, very quick rapid fire questions also. And again, this is an AMA session, right? We've got some of the colleagues from the student fraternity too, the academia too, and then we've got some really senior Postgres DBAs, and then another engine open source engine DBAs that are there, right? Just keep the questions coming. I'll keep bugging these two gentlemen with my questions, but whatever that you want to see in the next say 3 months to 3 years, right? That is something what we are looking at, right? When we looked at a panel discussion or an AMA session, what we wanted to do was, now everybody is talking about AI, right? Let's just get ourselves on that AI bandwagon, right? Though everybody wants to do that, and everybody wants to say that we are AI ready, AI enabled, and AI atheist, right? That's another new concept that came up with, right? So just to see how many of you are already using Postgres plus AI. Can I see hands up in the air? Anybody who's doing Postgres plus AI already? There's one hand that is trying to come up, or it's already there, right? Anybody in the student population who have been doing AI plus Postgres or AI plus any database? I'm missing Ayan today. I know that gentleman is working on something on Postgres plus AI. Anybody else? Right. So
I'll ask a follow-up question then.
No. You'll have to answer the question first.
Okay. It's easy to ask questions. So yeah. Okay. You want me to answer?
Yes. No.
Obviously, yes, that is
So, Jobin, what would you say?
Yeah, so the question Postgres plus AI. So there are two aspects to that. So one is the Postgres, say I was telling Hari, I consider Postgres as community, not a software. So the software is just a byproduct of the community activities, and we are the Postgres. So the what all things which we do on daily basis, if there is impact of AI, definitely the AI has, you are doing something with AI. So even if you are asking a question in AI, and the more we interact with AI systems, there is intelligence in behind. They will tune the system accordingly. Say if there are a lot of hits on a specific topic by the users, definitely the models will redesign or optimized for those topics. I see that nowadays, even if you ask very internal questions about the Postgres source code, nowadays it's capable of answering that. Say, for example, take the latest development, the logical decoding side. Postgres 19 is going to have conflict resolution. So you ask all those tough questions. Already AI systems are tuned for that. So the moment you are using AI for some purpose in Postgres, definitely that is impacting or positively impacting Postgres. And the other aspect is, say for example, all of us, say myself is a lazy person. So even if somebody asks me, okay, can you write an extension? I say, oh, that's a lot of work. I need to develop, test it. Now it's become so easy. So with a good prompt, I can spin up the extension for doing pretty complex job.
Yep.
In few minutes, and it will even do the testing and even prepare documentation
In whatever language we want.
whatever language we want. So when we say Postgres is a community and a software by the people, for the people, and of the people, and now that the threshold of writing code came down to all of us, now we can do. We don't have to look for a very senior person to write an extension. Everyone can do that. So it is becoming more what do you call people friendly. So AI is bringing down that threshold.
Right. Now, if I put, I did not see any hands going up, right? Now, let me ask or paraphrase that question. How many of you have gone on to ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, whatever, right? And say, asked a Postgres question. Right. Now, you guys are part and parcel of Postgres plus AI then,
Yeah,
right?
you are.
So, you guys, with your questions, right, contributed back to Postgres, right, and say, hey, this is exactly what some of the questions, right? So, the model is looking at that, right? Model is actually trying to process all of that. So, all of us are on one same page, right? All of us are part of the Postgres plus AI revolution now, right? Now, you can now say what is your thought process of where we should use AI, and probably you will say, you will contradict him and say, yeah, no, this is not where you should be using AI. And then I'll make sure the boxing bout is equally fought.
That's great. I like that. Okay, so quickly, when we say AI, most of us refer to LLMs, right? LLM alone is not AI. AI, as the term says, artificial intelligence. The system tries to gain intelligence. From where would it gain the intelligence? Data. What does your Postgres database have? Right? So when Hari asks a question, are you using Postgres plus AI? If I rephrase it, are you using Postgres data plus AI? Maybe, may not be. See, so far the problem that we have is the intention that AI works on historical data, but AI can also work on your current transactional data, right? So I'll tell you, training an LLM model is not that easy. Training an LLM model involves huge amount of compute, huge amount of data. When we hear that LLM model is able to answer a query pretty quickly and pretty accurately on the latest events, what's happening there is a web of events happening that is helping an LLM to give an accurate answer. There are, as you guys would have heard, there are tools, agentic AI, things of that sort that are happening behind. Again, I don't want to go too technical, but what I'm trying to say here is, all this intelligence that you are seeing on any artificial intelligence comes from learning the data. So wherever you see data, you should have AI. You have the capability to have AI. So that's my general note. It can be text, log files, images, whatsoever it is. Since everything gets converted into zeros and ones, you will be able to put AI towards it, right? So being an AI guy, I cannot say I will not use AI here and there, but I'll just say, wherever there is clean data that you can feed to a system, AI is a 100% possibility. So now I will wait for once.
Yeah.
Anybody in the audience would like to contradict or have additional comments?
Yeah, so when we deal with the AI and data, some of the negative sides also we need to be careful. So because when we expose things to outside, so LLM systems, so other than this enterprise level subscriptions, many of the LLMs will have a clause that the information which we provide will be used for further training. So for example, so all of you know how the LLM works. It's a language model basically. It's a string processing. The language strings are predicted for next one. So when we, for example, suppose you are giving a Postgres log file. So suppose you encountered a problem, and you earlier Hari mentioned about a PG badger. So nowadays it's easy, give that log file to LLM and ask LLM to analyze and give the output. But when we hand over that information to LLM, you should be careful that we are handing over our enterprise data to outside, including the server names, IP addresses, and there could be even credentials in the log file. So lot of informations can get leaked by using LLMs. So need to be very careful, and say nowadays many people writes this MCP servers. So basically you are allowing LLM to directly query on the tables. It can generate SQL and execute that against your database and come up with answers. So unless there is a strict control on what it can do real big damages. Say the other day you might have seen that incident. Somebody was trying to improve their application, and finally the LLM thought that this is a test machine, but actually that was a production machine. And what it done is it dropped the schema. Yeah, so all these things can happen. So when we play with our precious data with LLM, disasters can happen. So be very careful. Data leaks or data loss, anything could happen.
I don't know. Jobin mentioned about if I summarize the whole piece that Jobin is trying to say is security is the most important thing, right? Let's take the use case that Jobin mentioned, Shiva, right? PG Badger is a utility which reads the Postgres log files and gives us a beautiful human readable format, right? In a very short form, if you have to say our audience that would look at this recording at a point of time, right? how should one approach this problem, right? Now, there needs to be security, but there needs to be AI inference also, right? How would you suggest, or how would you recommend somebody trying to write an agent, right? That agent is going to be a complement to PG Badger, right? So how would you develop it, or how would you want somebody to develop an agent of that? Sure, go ahead.
On the previous part, when you say you see the data is everywhere and we can put the AI. So I will share my first-hand experience.
Sure. Can somebody hand over mic to Sudhir, please?
Yeah. So I would like to share the first-hand experience with the data, as you mentioned. So we were doing mainframe migration to Postgres. Okay. We give the data. We pull the data from mainframe and give it to AI to convert it for the Postgres. Now, here's the catch. You can't rely on AI here because the mainframe data set is completely different as we have for Postgres. I'll give you one simple example, the sorting. Mainframe do the sorting abcd. What does it mean is, it will put A as first, 1 as last. Postgres do inverse. It will put 1 as first, A at the last. So if you put the data, mainframe data as is in the Postgres, your AI will not be able to understand. That is one. Second, if you give the characters, not character, floating numbers. So 1.3. What mainframe does is, if it is an int character, first 8 character will go as a special character, which were completely ignored by AI because it was unable to identify these special characters. Now, that is point 1 with data. Coming to point number 2, if you give the code, mainframe COBOL code, to AI that converted into Postgres, it's a very, very common thing. When the cloud launched, Cloud was the first AI which said that we have the tool which will convert COBOL into distributed.
Right.
And they were never able to prove it. So there is where AI failed. And the reason is, when they convert the code, so how mainframe works is, it works as a file system. So it picks the first record, process the same record for the next check. Okay. So when you give to AI, it will create the what is that? I forget. It's on it parse. It create the loops. For each record, it create the loop. So if you have 10 records for processing, it will create 10 loops. So that is where AI still need to improve or evolve.
A lot.
I'm saying it's not you can stop using, but there is a chance of the improvement where AI still have a scope.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, okay, go ahead, please.
So let us consider in your scenario, you are starting this project and then you hired a top class Postgres expert. Would he have succeeded in this migration? You hired a solution architect, best in the industry, human, Postgres expert. Will he succeed? He will not. Because he doesn't know anything about mainframe. So you fired him and you hired a mainframe expert. Will he succeed? He will not, because he is not a Postgres expert. So consider your AI is an expert. So let us consider you hired a database expert and you gave this data that you told me as a document to him. Ask him, read it, come and do this migration. He will do it correctly. That is something AI can also do. So you have an LLM model which comprehends your English. You give the instruction document called as RAG, right? You give a proper RAG, proper data to it, guide it, it will do as a human can do. So one problem that we all have is, we are forgetting that AI was trained with whatever data was accessible to it. Again, with the term AI, I am talking about the general LLMs that are available. So what happens now? Closed systems like mainframe and possibly little older systems, because of the volume of data that an LLM needs to consume, they don't train it. But these problems that you explained were critical problems of any LLM maybe a year ago. But today what they did, they have set the brain LLM up in a place, and then they have built a proper ecosystem around it. Like how Jobin said, I asked a question about Postgres 18, a complex question about it. The question he asked is available on internet. So what has happened today is when you ask a question to any of these AI providers, the question does not directly go to LLM. There is a web search agent that goes to browse. There is multiple agents, language agent, all the agents that run and then go to the brain saying, hey, these are things that I found, now comprehend and give me an answer. So, for the challenges that we see today with LLMs or AIs performing, not up to our expectation, as I said, if you have data, the data is of two formats. One, the data with which the LLM is answering. The second data, the data that you're helping the LLM to answer. Right? So in your case, that helping data, the RAG documents, should have been created, should have been formulated, and then given to LLM, it would have performed. Yeah. Right? Again, I will come to your question as well. So as a human, right, in your case as well, right, there is an expert who is both good at mainframe and Postgres. Even he would have big challenges when he did this migration, right? He learns. Similarly, in your system, if you have a feedback learning mechanism put into place, your AI will start learning and performing better. So, access to data, again the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, let me answer this question about security and best practices. And one important thing about schema being cloud. Okay? I joined a company where, again, I don't want to say the number of years you will judge my age, so I'm just saying a few years back, for example. So when I was young, I was in a team, we were all young chaps, we were working. One guy joined, we gave him a document, run the steps as it is, and then the service will start. As part of this, there was a RMF and RF. That guy ran it on the root folder.
God bless him.
Okay.
5 minutes later, server is wiped out. So we didn't try that a human is not working well. You get my point, right? Schema being dropped by LLM or AI, is that an AI's problem or a process problem? It's a process problem, right? You have clear distinction between your production and testing, and dev plays a role there. So AI, again, as I said, AI can be an expert. Okay? When I walked into open source DB, I thought I'm an expert, I'm going to do wonders. And then when the engineers were talking all Postgres, I was clueless, blank. Right? So I have my own domain expertise. But every company has its own domain knowledge, SME knowledge. So that's what we all speak today, right? Developers can go, everything can go, but SMEs cannot be replaced. SMEs, what today he said is an SME knowledge. Right? For him to feed, we need an SME. For him to train the model in the future, we still need an SME. So, a clear definition of your process, make sure your AI does not do what you are not intended to do. Second part of sending your data to a general LLM available on internet. I still remember days where if the browser says I'm going to save your cookies, we are frightened, close the browser, and then we say I don't want my cookies to be saved. Today we paste everything, right? It is basically again a process problem, if you ask me. And there's no straightforward answer for it. So in case, for example, in open source DB, we are a very small team, but what we have done is, we don't have a mechanism for our team to directly go and interface with LLMs outside. We have an internal small system where it goes to our server and then it goes out. So a very simple thing that you could do is put a small LLM model in your system, send the query to it, anonymize it, build an agent that sends out to whatever LLM that you would like. Right?
Yeah.
A checkpoint you can build in your system, so you guys are not directly sending it out. Again, a company in which I worked for 10 years, I attended 110 trainings to save the password in the world, and still I see people saving it in Notepad. So,
Yeah.
so it's a human.
Yeah.
As long as humans are there, process problems are going to be there, AI is not going to succeed.
Correct.
I mean, I'll have one question to both of you. I mean, we know about PG Badger for ages together since Giles Derald wrote it. Now we have been using it, and you know what is a PG Badger now. If you wanted to rewrite PG Badger and make it AI enabled, I don't know, the fancy next generation software or a utility, how would you do? Give us a very 10,000 feet overview of how you would do and then how you would do. And then while these guys are trying to formulate an answer, if there are any questions that I can ask them, I would love to.
Yeah, so like he mentioned, the expertise is not going away. So that is the key point. So the same PG Badger report, if you give to a new person or an expert, they'll be looking at it different things and their interpretation will be different. So the AI systems should help on that, the quality of interpretation, not actually the report. The report will be the same, but how that report is going to be interpreted, what are the data to be connected, that is where the intelligence and the knowledge should work out. So the AI systems should understand what are the most frequent problems. So what are the problems? Say they knows because they deal with thousands of people around the world, and the systems, they have internal the weightage. So what are the frequent problems and things like that. So the AI system should be able to look at the report and figure out what are is this telling any non-stories? The pattern is emerging, or these are the data. So that is what I would look at.
I'm kind of in line with the same approach. So if a PG, see for example, I'm not a Postgres guy, right? For me, PG Badger is yet another name. What it is giving me, I have no clue. So if AI is in a position where my database architects are able to feed the system, someday I see the PG Badger report, I understand what it is trying to tell me. Then it has matured to a point that the tool has come to a commoner's use, right? Most critical factor for AI, machine learning, LLM, it would be not the knowledge it has already gained, but about the feedback that it can come from the users, right? When a user uses your AI system, again, very political topic. Today we see all these LLM tokens being dead cheap, and many large companies giving services like $10, $12. $10 you don't get anything in US. So they are burning huge amount of electricity and coal and all that stuff, but they give it for $10, right, per month. With that amount of money they are spending, what they are getting back is your knowledge. You are training your knowledge for them, so the model becomes mature, right? It doesn't need to happen that way. You can localize your knowledge, build a system that runs a loop on your interactions and becomes your asset, right? So I would usually, again, I don't want to push further on that. My thought would be for any AI system, including PG Badger optimization, would be customize it in a way that it becomes your own asset. Do not make it some big, large company's asset, right? Spend little capex, understand that you have data in your databases, capture that, and then for your forensic analysis, performance management, whatsoever it is, build your own local asset. And again, that should learn from your mission. See, very simple thing. When I ask a question to somebody in the team, right, they might say, hey, I don't know how to do that, this might be the answer and all that. And again, I turn back to Hari, how do we handle it? He says, hey, we did it a couple of years back for so-and-so customer, this is how we did it, let us do it the same way. Where does it come from? It's from the internal practice. So consider an LLM system or an AI system as a human. Give it an opportunity to see all the transactions and stay with you. So it helps you back the same way you help it learn.
I mean, creating digital assets for yourself, right? And then somebody throwing away a Claude subscription for $17 and ChatGPT for $25 or something around that, $20, something around that, right? Look at Anthropic's valuation a year ago, 100 mil. What is Anthropic's valuation now on this day? 875 million of valuation, right? Who is giving that valuation? All of you guys, all of us, right? Trying to empower Anthropic engine with so much of human intelligence, right? That it is evaluated at that huge surge, right?
True.
It's like 100x growth, 175% x of growth, right? That is our assets, our digital assets that we are contributing back to Anthropic, and then Anthropic is making money out of it, right? Now, on the same thought process, and this is a question for both of you. Where do you think AI should not be used, or it does not make any sense for me to look at one example? You could quote an example, or you may not quote an example because you do not want to be hurting somebody, right? So where do you think it is been pushed too much far ahead? Where you could just live without an AI piece there. One example that I can look at, I don't see a lot of YouTube shorts, but off late my son is forcing me to view some of the YouTube shorts where a small child is delivering dialogues. It says he or she is talking to his grandmother and then cracking some jokes, right? That is very clearly evident that it is an AI generated video, right? Do you think I would want to waste my 1.5 minute or 2 minutes watching that video? It is cute, right? And then people going gaga over it and then having millions and millions of views is something that is an overkill for me. Well, again, that's my opinion. I think AI may not be used there. Again, in Postgres ecosystem, right? If you have seen a lot of live Jobin, and you have seen a lot of data and AI live.
Yeah. So where AI is not great. So one problem which I see, especially when it comes to Postgres and community, is excessive positive bias. Why that is happening is, for example, if I am the PG gather which I maintain, so what I'll definitely do is I'll go to everywhere and talk something positive about that. So this will help this way, that way, and this will do that. So I'll be talking about what it does, and I won't be talking about what it don't. But so every software, or look at every company, say AWS, RDS. So if you look at the documentation, you'll see the Aurora runs 3 times faster, 4 times faster. So all these claims will be there, and there won't be any mention about there are cases where it runs 1/4 of the speed. So every software will have pros and cons, but all the documentation and all the developers will be talking only about the pros, not the cons. So when these LLMs get trained on these positive side, they'll be totally positive bias. For any question, I'll get that positive bias every time. And sometimes people say it's as good, but that won't be that won't give us a realistic picture. The world is not that always positive. So in the LinkedIn forum, there was a discussion. The one guy commented say car without brake is called velocity these days. It works until the next corner. Because the expertise, your UDBs are the brakes. So we should be able to say, no, that's not the way. There is problem with that. Stop. So those are the brakes to be applied when things goes wrong. Or if you know that priorly something went bad this way. So that is, the LLMs are not that capable of understanding that because there is not sufficient material available outside. It cannot get trained. So I tried multiple things. The output which I get is a lot of hallucinations. So what is wrong with this? It will start hallucinating. Not a real cases it will provide. Yeah. So those are the things which we need to be aware about. The negative sides of LLM. And today we were talking about the security aspect. So security aspect, there is one more thing which I think everyone should be aware. Everyone who deals with the database should be aware. Nowadays, this maintaining your version to the latest minimal version is super important. So if it's you are running Postgres 16, say recently when I was auditing a customer case, I saw 16.6. That is years back.
Yeah.
So the problem is, if you just take that the version number, there is a site called all the CVV numbers after that. So just to take that CVV number and put it into any LLM and ask how to exploit this. It will give step-by-step instruction how to exploit this vulnerability and hack into the system. It's pretty easy. We don't even have to write any line of code. It will give all the steps. So it is that powerful nowadays. So please don't leave your system with the old minor versions. So if you are seeing a customer running an old minor version, and today we were talking about somebody running Postgres 9.5, right? So, and those won't get any security updates. And now all the compliances requirements are A considered. A is considered for specifying the compliance requirements. So that says unless all the vulnerabilities are addressed, you are not compliant. You won't be compliant with HIPAA, you won't be PCI, you won't be none of the compliance, even GDPR, you won't be compliant. So unless we are in a Postgres version which is the latest, then we are out of compliances. And remember, there is a saying, right? A chain is as strong as its weakest link. So if there is a one vulnerable system in your data center, that is sufficient to make the entire thing vulnerable.
True, very true. So it's in the same line about the question of what you should not be over pushing AI. I would say if you are not an expert in a particular domain, do not use AI for it. Right? So I saw a LinkedIn post where a lady kind of actually put a post saying, hey, I from a totally non-technical background, I have written a Postgres extension. I wrote it 10 minutes. Now my extension works. How many vulnerabilities that extension has? She doesn't know.
Yeah.
How will she fix it if that screws up? She doesn't know. So if you are a developer, then use AI to develop code. If you are an architect who deals with documentation, architecture diagram, use it for that work. In a domain where you are an expert, use AI for that domain. Do not expand your wings just because you have an AI subscription in hand. It's as dangerous as having an old version of Postgres. So, Robin says, hey, don't go with Postgres version 16. I am a novice guy. What I'll do, I'll put a ChatGPT prompt. It is going to give me a code which is Postgres version 16.6. Because the latest it was trained, the web search it is doing is going to give the most peaked version. Most peaked version is created by us. We keep hitting it with Postgres 16.6, it gives the feedback, oh, people are all using it, we will give that as a general feedback. When he hits it, he'll say, hey, Postgres version 16 is old, I don't want to use that, give me something around 19 or 18. I would directly use it, right? Unless he says that to me, I have no clue that I am stepping into it and is wrong, right? So, if you are an expert in a domain, use it. If you are new to the domain, talk to an expert. Okay? My wife keeps, every talk I give, I at least talk about my wife once. So I have to fulfill that. My wife keeps generating images and things of that sort, just for fun. I would say every image that you are creating is going through a transformer model where a cluster of servers are running. This particular image that you have created would have burned this much of CO2, you are killing the earth and all that stuff. Then she'll say, oh, Abba, please leave me. Right? So, all this dogs dancing, all this AI video where heroes become young and all that stuff, actually we are burning too much of fuel, CO2. We are, like, I don't know, nobody's talking about it, but AI is one of the components that is killing the earth today. Right? Every bit of query, my wife, okay, my wife types a query in a clear English on an LLM and asks it, am I typing it correctly? It goes to a transformer model, cluster of servers, GPU burns, goes to the US, comes back, yes, you have typed it correctly. She would have asked me that. I was sitting there. Right? And that becomes a habit. So every prompt or every work that we do, unlike a Google search or unlike a normal activity, these are pretty hefty. Again, that brings to one other topic. Today from my experience, I work in a company where we spend in millions to replace people who are getting in thousands. So, a human, for example, I have one engineer in my team, okay? He works on 10 accounts. He is a master LLM, right? If I post a question, hey, what is happening to that client X? He will say, hey, they did that, this, that, this, that. His neurons work 100 times faster than an LLM. But if you pose the same question to LLM, it will also answer. But that answer involves huge amount of compute. Right? When I said to the gentleman that give it the raw data and all that stuff, theory is great. But on practical implementation, I pump huge volume of data to get a small insight. That huge volume burns huge amount of GPU resource. And then somewhere in US, the data center is sucking all the energy. Right? You need to validate again, today when you do an ROI calculation, as Hari also said, people are giving it very cheap to get your data in, but they cannot sustain running in the same cost. Right? You have seen telecom providers providing very cheap plans. Today, none of the plans are cheap. Right? It's the same system. In a decade or so, your LLM cost will be 100 times what a human is going to cost you. Right? Because today they are spending that amount. So I don't know, it's a vicious cycle. One guy funds the other guy funds the other guy. Nobody knows where the money is. But everybody keeps circling in funding. But every action that we do, again, I would say this, because I am an AI and I have seen the ground reality, I would say increase your expertise in your domain. Do not worry, AI will take over. It cannot take over. Again, AI is not going to go away. AI is going to stand next to us, but implement a way that your expertise helps AI helps to reduce your work. Right? The single prompt that we send includes huge amount of resource that it consumes. Right? In my perspective, if a human is an expert and he is able to deliver a solution, AI can be his assistant. not its supervisor.
Awesome. I mean, now that the scenario is very serious, I would say there are two scenarios here, right? Let's look at one LinkedIn post which says, "I have been arrested for tax fraud," right? Let the AI write that and then rewrite that. I have strategically looked at my future, and then the next 6 months of future is going to be invested in solitude, and then I will be discussing amongst myself, and then I have a group of people where I can only sit in a boundary, right? I have got so many things. So look at the distinction, right? Where the heck is an arrested person sitting in a prison versus AI LLM, I mean, the AI model saying what all it does, right? So look at the positive bias that Jobin had mentioned, right? It is huge, right? So much of, I mean, AI has got so much of artificial in that intelligence that you should choose whether you have to rely on AI or not. Right? Like Shiva says, it's not going anywhere, right? It's going to be behind your ass. It's going to be in and around you to go ahead and take care of it, right? Whether you adopt it, whether you go ahead and go against it is up to you. Yes, Sudhir.
I would like to share the same thing. Being a leader, not on the technology side, if you go there, I don't want to see AI at least on basic education. I don't want my son to go to AI and finish his homework. It will be 5-minute task. Okay, prompt is given, homework is done. And the reason behind this, I'll give you one more example. I was working with a person in my team. He has written a code, very good fancy code. Okay. I asked her how it will work. I don't know. Why? I asked AI to write and it's done.
Vibe coding.
Yeah. If you doesn't know the logic, if you don't know the rule, if you don't know the basics behind the code, then how you can promote that code for further? So that's why basic knowledge is required.
Be an expert, right expert, talk to the AI.
And talk about funny scenarios.
This is something I faced recently.
I saw one software lead asking his teammates, "Hey, why you guys are sitting idle?" Those guys just responded, "Our car license expired." He said, "Oh, okay." So I was shocked to see that conversation. They have become from software developers to prompt engineers.
Yeah.
And for some reason they might have seen that YouTube ad. One guy saying, "Hey, prompt engineer, you will get so and so lakhs of dollars revenue," right? So again, that's a great risk that we are seeing. We are losing the expertise that the human only can have. Humans have their own way of screwing things up and basically again. If you over-depend on AI, as Hari clearly pointed out, AI is being trained based on questions and in most cases happy path scenario, right? The places where we screw up internally does not go there. And it's clean white paper when you see it on high level, but every company has its own ways of working, right? As I said earlier, I can be an expert, but when I step into a company, their ways of working will teach me a lot of new things. And you cannot just say, "Hey, I am AI expert, you will come and do all the work for me."
Awesome.
Yes.
I mean, I'll have final question to you both, right? I've got two, say. So we've got mix of the student population, very, very senior statesmen in their own trade, and then there are mid-level career professionals, right? What would be your advice, right, that covers all of them, and how would you want them to practice responsible AI?
Yeah, so he gave us a very good example, saying when he was migrating from mainframe to Postgres, the sort order is was not matching. So this just opens a door of problem. So the problem is when we prompt AI system, we need to tell, say, I want specific ordering. So it's collation rules, we know. So unless we specify that, okay, my expectation is so and so collation rules need to be applied on the data, it will take some default and do it. So basically it is our responsibility to build our context. So what are our expectations and what is the expected output? Put all the constraints, say this need to be sorted this way. I live in so and so country, so in India we use DDMMYY, right? In US the month, date, so the date format, localizations, the currency, so all the localizations need to be considered. So there are a lot of context about our environment, the project we are working, and our expertise, our prior knowledge. So all these things are important when we prompt. Otherwise, it will give some answer which may not be relevant. Say vibe coding part, I missed that. So the other day the same thing happened to me. So my management told me that, okay, there is a new product came to existence. It is that comes from a reputed company, and they may replace the Petroni. Petroni is now the gold standard for high availability. So Jobin, you are the oldest Petroni guy here, so you just evaluate that. So as and when I started looking at source code, no documentation available. So I got that feel that this is something vibe coded stuff. That guy might have taken few hours to do all the works, maximum. And for me, it was almost 2-3 days effort to go through that and find out all the problems. And I prepared a document with the 20 major items where all these things are going wrong. So the development is easy, but finding out all those problems, edge cases, is becoming too difficult. And now if you have some crazy idea, immediately you can develop something, but what it is going to do is we need to see later.
Battle testing.
Yeah.
So as he correctly said, today vibe coding helps you to develop stuff. As I said earlier, right? Somebody who was an HR comes and writes a code. Somebody who was a housewife starts writing a code. The problem is sustaining the code to future versions and running it for a long run is not going to be easy. And anybody who has done software development, you would know, writing a code from scratch is far more easier than reverse engineering somebody's code. Today, the problem that we are going to face in a couple of years is you are going to have humongous amount of code that somebody has to reverse engineer. At that point, people will again circle back to engineers who can sit and do work, right? So, for the youngsters, I would say, do not bother about AI, but do not do one mistake. Most of us have become copy-pasters, right? You enter a code, you enter a prompt, LLM learns from you, you don't learn anything from it. You get my point, right? You enter a prompt, LLM learns that this is a question you are asking, it is popping an answer. You don't even read and understand what it is giving you. You copy-paste it. So if you become copy-pasters, then it's a terrible poison that is going to make you at a point that anybody asks you what is that you are doing, you will not remember anything from copy-pasting, right?
You will say copy-paste.
You will be like a prompt engineer, you will be a copy-paster, right? And people use this term prompt engineer pretty loosely, as both of them highlighted. If you don't know what you are asking, which means if you don't have the expertise of what you are doing, your prompt will never take you to the point of getting an answer, right? So build your expertise, the depth in which, so the clear problem that I am seeing is, since everything is available by LLM, the breadth of knowledge that everybody tries to acquire is too huge that you are not a specialist of anything, right? If you want to succeed, pick a topic, complex, normal, that doesn't bother, doesn't matter. Pick a topic which you will be an expert in and out. Even a comma, semicolon inside the code or deployment guide, you should be an expert. If that's the case, no more AI can replace you. If you become a wide coder with very wide scope, you are lost already, right? So, my advice to youngsters, do not bother about AI. Try to build your expertise in technologies, and any technology that you pick, you should walk out as an expert, right? Today, we are facing a lot of challenges in the industry where our white coders are creating a lot of content, but they are not able to deliver the results that we are expecting. So obviously, people are looking for proper developers, engineers, architects who are experts in their domain.
Awesome. Any questions for the folks? All right, great, cool. Thanks so much for being great. Thank you, Jobin. Thank you, Shiva.
Thank you. Nice.